Okay, I've just drawn a picture of a boy playing hide and seek. I'm very sure you have played this game before. It's a very common game, and I just close my eyes, and then all the others are hiding themselves, and after that I'll open my eyes and I look for them to find them. It's a very exciting game when we were kids. The question must be, why am I drawing a game of hide and seek? The reason is because I wanted to stress the importance of realizing where is God. I mean, all of my life I've been searching for God, okay? And when I was young, what I did was I searched for God outside me. And we go to church. We go to places of worship. And we look for God there, but we couldn't find God. And even if I were to ask God to come in front of me, it will never happen. So I wondered to myself all these years, has God been hiding himself? Is he playing a game of hide and seek? But when I get much older, I realize that perhaps God is not outside there. Perhaps he's inside me. And that's the reason why I couldn't find him at all. It was quite logical. You know why? Because if I think that God is outside me, then how is it that I'm still alive? If I'm alive and God is outside me, then you know what's happening is that I'm also a God. And so I find that a bit illogical. So the more logical idea is that God is inside me, breathing in me, giving me life. And that's how it happened. So I thought that God has to be inside me. It explains for the reason why I cannot find God at all, why I cannot see God anywhere. I can go all through the universe and look for God, but I cannot find him. And why is that so? So he has to be inside me, right? And those people who want to see God, really see God, what they did was they have to draw God. They have to draw God in their mind. They have to draw God as a statue. They just have to draw God, because if they want to see God outside themselves, they got to do that. But I felt that the best understanding of the whole thing is that God must have been inside me, not outside me, but inside me. So what happened was I was looking at myself. So instead of looking at outside me, I began to practice meditation in order to look for God inside me. But all these years I asked myself, is God hiding from me? Is God playing a hide and seek for me? So the reason why I drew this picture was to give a very clear explanation to you that perhaps it's not God who is hiding from me. It is I who is hiding from God. So what is happening is that I'm closing my eyes. I'm making myself unable to see God at all. And that's the reason why God could not appear before me. So even when God sits inside me, I cannot see him. And probably the reason why was because not God is hiding from me, but rather I'm closing my eyes to myself so that I couldn't see God at all. So I wanted to emphasize that fact through this drawing of mine. Another point you must realize is that when you use your eyes to look out for God, you're looking at outside. Because the visual image that you can see is all the result of the illusions of black and white. It's all about images that will appear before your eyes. But what is inside me, what is me, I couldn't see. Look at it this way. I can never see my own face, can I? Have you ever seen your own face? Of course not. And you have to take a picture of yourself. So when you take a picture of yourself, what you're doing is that you are using an artifact which is outside you to look at yourself. But that's not exactly where you're not exactly looking at yourself face to face, but you are kind of what you call using an outside frame to see yourself, a mirror. But the problem with a mirror is that it's not showing exactly me. Because with a mirror, my left becomes my right, and my right becomes my left when I look at my face. So you see, I have a dilemma in the search of God for all these years. I couldn't see God, that's number one, and I could never do that because God is not appearing as an image from my eyes. I could not see God outside in the universe too, because definitely God cannot be outside. But if God is outside of me, how could I be alive? So I discovered and I felt that God has to be inside me. And all through these years of my life, I've been searching for God inside me. So that's how my meditation began. My practice of searching God was actually to observe myself. But I couldn't really observe myself. So what I did was I observed my thoughts. I observed my feelings. You see, these are substitutes. But kind of, you know why? Because the thoughts are mine, feelings are mine. So when I observe my thought, it's like me observing myself. So in a way, I did my best to observe myself. But then I realized that there was a problem. Because if I'm watching my thoughts, who is watching the thoughts? So I realized that the place where God is must be at the place of the watcher. The watcher is watching God, right? So it cannot be what is being watched, but it must remain as the watcher. Then you really come into a problem. How do you see the watcher? The watcher is watching, so how do you see a watcher? You see, the first thing we need to do, I want to tell you the secret, is that you have to be self-authentic. You have to be very honest with yourself. You cannot hide yourself with all your thoughts and images. You cannot think of yourself in a certain way. You cannot be dishonest about who you are. And not everyone can do that. You have to be very self-authentic. That's the beginning moment when you can begin to sit in the place where you are. You see, God is not out there. God is in the place where I am. So how am I going to watch that place? I've got to be very self-authentic. So in my journey to discover God, I've been meditating, that's true, but more important, I've also been very self-authentic. So I make sure I do not lie to my fellow man. I make sure I do not falsify my image to others. I make sure that I don't act like somebody else whom I'm not. I got to accept myself as I am, truly as I am. Not everyone can do that, but if you really want to know God, then begin by being self-authentic. But I'd like to emphasize from the hide and seek show that what is happening in your life is that you have been hiding God from you. It is not God who is hiding from you. So what is happening is that you don't want to see where you are. So when you don't want to see where you are, you can never know the place where God is. Because God is actually at the very source of your existence. So in order for you to really understand and get to the place of where I am, you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. So let me repeat it now, because I'm going to end this video shortly. Let me repeat that God is not hiding from you. It's I am hiding myself from myself. That's the key. If I open myself to myself, there's a great chance, at least I could hear God within me. And my life has been in this search all these years, and I create this video to help you to see that God is really living in you and not outside you. And the whole universe actually stands on where you are, which is the place of your I am. There is no other place. And your journey must begin with self-knowledge. Not the knowledge of yourself as what you think you want to be. If you want to be humble, that's not the way to look at things. If you want to be righteous yourself, oh no, that's not the way to look at things. You have to be what you are. So if you are a naughty boy, you just have to be naughty. You just have to be self-authentic. The minute you begin to be self-authentic, something will totally change. You cease from being naughty in the first place. You will cease from being what you are not. As a result, something will shine in you, and you begin to love yourself even more. So So, my good friends, let's begin that journey. Okay? Open your eyes and see yourself. There is no other way. If you think that God is out there, and somebody is teaching you that God is out there, and that you can pray to God out there, it's an easy thing. Because you know why? What is outside, you can easily bullshit him. Right, that's true. If it's outside you can easily say, oh God, I'm good, I'm a good boy. Oh God, I've been praying to you, I want to see you, and to love you very much. You can do all that. You can bullshit it. But God is inside you. So how do you bullshit him? That's the hard part, right? That's the hard part. God is inside you where you are. So no form of faking. You don't have to fake love. You don't have to. You simply have to be I am that I am. I repeat again, you simply have to be I am that I am to find the place where God sits in you. And by the way, I use the word God sits in you, but I don't exactly use that term because the word God is only a kind of name you give. Actually, I don't know where that place, that place where I am, I can never really name him, right? I can never really name. It's just where I am. I can never really see my own face, right? It's where I am. So that's why I say that God is nameless. You don't have to call God God. You don't have to. You just simply have to be me, yourself. Okay, friend, thank you very much for listening to me. Look out for my next video. Thank you.